And we're back. Did you miss us? I know you did.
Yes, you did. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Welcome to our open tabs.
Hello, I'm Jess.
I'm Mara. And we're back. Just like that. We were complaining about different social media sites, and I was like, oh wait, this is interesting, people might want to hear this.
Yes.
I hit the button.
I said that I think Threads is worse than Twitter, and dare I say, especially, I don't know, I just think it's worse than Twitter overall.
I think so too. It feels like I've never seen funny threads.
No.
So Twitter was a cesspool, but it was funny.
Yes.
And Threads just seems universally negative anytime I see anything from there.
Literally, someone will post. Now, granted, like I said, I told Mara, these people must be getting paid because you see the same, you'll see like these rage bait posts over and over. But I'm like,
gosh. Yeah.
Everybody did not get on a plane today and somebody asked them to switch a seat. Like, I know it does happen, but like the amount of times it's posted on Threads is crazy. Or somebody posts something that to me reads as innocuous or just something. And then you see all the replies are, you idiot. Why would you post this on the internet? Still have a chance to delete. I'm like, and like some posts, I think that's warranted, but some of them, I'm like, oh my God, I would never post anything.
I don't. So I'm limited now on Instagram. I can only go on there, I think, 3 times a day for no more than 5 minutes. So I really just hop on there to check messages. But anytime I do take a quick scroll and it recommends a thread to me, it's always something rage baity.
Yes.
So
can someone explain how? I don't know how you didn't see this. I'm like, some people aren't on the internet all day. So
some people are not, and they're better. They're better for it.
They do the same vague. Here's my thing. I struggle with threads. I just want to call everything a tweet because I'm like, a thread to me is multiple messages. So what is one thread called?
I mean, I think it's called a thread, but that is very confusing.
But they do their vague threading on there too. Like, I can't believe people are supporting that person. Who? Just say who it is.
Well, that's oh my God, that drives me crazy. And it harkens back to the mother company because vague booking.
just stuff and then people in the messages DM me. No, you brought that here. Yeah.
I don't think you're missing anything, Allie.
Well, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
It is truly. I mean, sometimes I get a laugh, but I'm like, oh, I would never post nothing on here because you could just be trying to post that's a place.
I got a Threads to save the name because I'm always worried that there's going to be someone impersonating me out there. I'm sure I'm not that important, but
you never know.
You just never know. So anytime one's taking off, I claim the name. And I did a couple of threads, I guess, when it first started, but it never really clicked with me. And Blue Sky, I would say, hasn't clicked with me the way Twitter did at one point. Yeah. Like, I don't really get on there and scroll the same way, but I find it more palatable than Threads.
Yeah. I just wonder, will we ever, because like, again, there was negativity on Twitter, but Twitter, especially Black Twitter, my God, what a time.
R.I.P.
Will we ever get that back? Like, that's the thing I never see on Threads is like, I rarely see like a fun where like somebody posts something sarcastic, everybody gets it. It seems like everyone's just like, and then it has to be like multiple comments down. We're like, I don't think people got the joke.
I have to say the single best day on Twitter in my entire life was when Black Twitter was making fun of Paula Deen. It wasn't mine to participate in, but I observed and I laughed so heartily.
There's so many. One was when Black people were tweeting about getting superpowers, and the other one was when there was that messed up tweet. Was it from was it from Trump's admin or something? And it said N-word
Feffy?
baby. And it was the was one
I
of the
missed that
greatest
one.
things on Twitter. But yeah, even I remember live tweeting, used to live tweet Game of Thrones on Sunday, and Black Twitter would tweet hashtag Dim Thrones. So amazing. So I just hold those moments in here in my memory, and I'm just like, I don't think we're gonna get
Every night in my dreams.
I see you. It's like I don't know. I think that I know people keep talking about dead internet theory that most like more or most of the internet are like robots or fake accounts, and I'm like, is that why it's so miserable now, or is it just miserable people? Like people have always been miserable, but like it's.
I think some of it is people have gotten too comfortable.
Yeah. That's probably because also people have started getting really weird to me on Goodreads and leaving really passive aggressive comments. And normally I wouldn't, but like that never happens to me on Goodreads. But lately I've been getting like checking my notifications and getting multiple, and I've been replying back very snarky because I'm like, this is a fucking Goodreads review.
What do you want from me?
They're like, just because you didn't like something doesn't mean that's how you should rate the book. That's exactly what it means, bitch.
That
I didn't like this, therefore I DNF the book.
Yeah.
Get out of here. So I don't know. There's been like an uptick in some foolishness, and I'm like, and I've got time right now to be a fool right back.
I will say, I don't think I am posting reviews early enough on popular enough books
Yeah.
to really have it be a problem.
That one that I'm not going to name, I've gotten multiple, and then I've gotten some on like
the one the one I thought you meant the Malka Older.
Yes, yes.
I've
gotten some on. I've written reviews or a DNF or something, and I include something that it's in the blurb of the book in the summary, and people are like, oh, post a spoiler warning. It's in the that's in the synopsis of the story. It's not a spoiler. Like I have multiple people comment over one.
People sometimes I think that the back of the books. I'm trying to find a book. Sometimes the backs of the books tell you too much. Yeah, that's not my fault.
Yeah, I'm like, oh well.
So if it's there, then
playful Twitter was. And I will hold her fondly in here. I had some good times, and I had to let her go. And now, have you seen this mess about what's it called? Grok or whatever.
Oh,
AI thing.
Isn't it becoming a friend of Adolf? Yeah. So, I'm so surprised.
Shocked. It's just the wild wide web, the world wide web.
The wild web, I think, is
growing up in its evolution. You know, who would have thought we'd be here? I mean, obviously, young Jessica didn't really conceptualize the future of like what the internet would be, but it used to be such a fun place where you could just explore and learn. And
I was watching somebody who does a podcast. It's called Having a Day, and it's just him like having fun with his friends for the day, or like running an errand with his friends or whatever, and they just chat in the car in between stops. Okay. And they were talking about how early internet or like early aughts internet was such an earnest place. Like you would make a blog thinking it could blow up and be something good and whatever. And now when you look back on it, it's completely cringe.
Like GeoCities.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. But it's like, I think the users of internet, I think, have lost their innocence in some ways.
Yeah. It was all just because it was new and you're like, I have this interest. Right? Yeah. I'm going to post it out here. Now everything, because we live in this consumerist world, is I'm going to do this so I make not everything, obviously, but I'm going to do this. And
so much.
But like back there was like, it was just like, I got on this. Now I did. I'm like, I'm in this chat room because I do love Britney Spears. That's why I'm here. Now we're some other adults there who probably shouldn't have been. Yes, that's what the point here. But it was fun. And like, I remember being obsessed with fonts. Like I remember when we got a desktop computer at my house, I used to love playing on Microsoft Word. And because, it used to come with computers. Crazy concept. Yeah. But I used to love like word art. and making PowerPoints just because it was like, what else?
Well,
You had limited things to do. So I made PowerPoints, I write stories. I'm like, ooh, what font am I gonna use? I'm excited.
Jessica, you could not have queued me up better for this if you tried, because we may or may not be about to see some word art.
Yes. Oh, I was like, word art. It was like, ooh, do I want to use this one that's tilting forward in blue with a shadow to the back or to the side?
Oh, I loved MS Paint, yes. But the elite word art is the squiggly blue one, like the blue, and then it has the lining in a darker blue, and it kind
Mm-hmm.
of goes like this. That's the best of the word arts.
It was just MS Paint, Solitaire, just
Minecraft or
yeah,
Minesweeper.
Minesweeper. Did I know what I was doing? No.
I figured
And
it out, and as like a 12-year-old, and it was I'd never felt smarter in my entire life. The day I used to play it. Freaking.
that would be amazing. Oh, yes. I love this. But yeah, the early of the internet, there used to just be like I've seen people and I've saved some stuff. There were just like how many just different websites we had because like everything
Yes.
there's still websites, but a lot of things are app based, and there was just like Stumble Upon and eBombs World, and like I don't know. I feel like no one remembers this website, but it was called hotornot.com.
Of course I remember
Oh my god,
hotornot.com.
you could just rate random people who uploaded their photos.
Do you remember people of Walmart.com?
Oh yes. There was
Yes.
this one called like, oh, what was it called? This was like, it was not like, I don't think it was called shit people like, or it was like things white people like, or
Oh
things
yeah.
or
There was
something.
like a whole there's a
We had
whole
like a
family
calendar.
of
Yes. And
yeah.
it was like white people love home renovations. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I can't deny it.
Um yeah, just random websites for like things. And like now it's just everything damn me, accept the cookie and give me your email and give me your text. Oh, no.
It's
Just let me
just
browse.
I know. And there's not I feel like everything is content based. Like I
Yeah.
remember going into like GeoCity deep dives of like daisy chain GeoCity sites
You went on one
when
and linked something else,
yes,
and then
when
it's
I
like,
was like
oh,
when it was like, okay, I am in my Sailor Moon phase and I have found an English language GeoCity Sailor Moon site and
I
it's going to link me to this entire world.
it was incredible.
Yeah.
Like I still don't understand how, because I was one of I love this explorer of the internet. How I did not find fan fiction in my youth. It's probably a good thing because I don't know how I would have read it in my family computer in the den with my, my mother behind me. Oh, do you remember the
Neopet.
little thing that was like little dolls and you could dress them? You could like change their clothes. I can't remember
I may have
what.
been too old for that. I don't know. It's interesting because at that point in the internet, even a couple of years difference
Yeah.
can
I can't remember what they
significantly
were called. It was like dolls, but they were like little, they like look like little teenage girls. But I just even somebody, I think it could have been on Threads or maybe it was TikTok talking about even like this is not the internet, obviously, but magazines and how they missed like magazines. Cause I haven't bought a magazine in years, but I used to be about a magazine subscription.
Yeah.
And
Oh
like
yeah.
I can't imagine what's in them now, but I used to love, and I think that's also changed with social media because like we have such access to celebrities. Yes, pixel dolls. Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
We have, because it would be like I would buy because my favorite celebrity was on the cover, and like it would be an interview with them, and then there's clothes and perfume, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, and
I remember feeling so grown up when I got a 17 magazine subscription. And I would clip articles like I was going to reference them.
I still have a folder with some random ones.
Oh,
And
I do
then
too.
I started when I went to college, I got Cosmopolitan, and I remember
Yes.
hiding from my mother.
That was like the next one. And I felt so naughty. It was like first I had 17 and then I had Cosmo.
It's like I'm basically on Sex in the City now.
Oh my God. Okay, well, we have a lot of ground to cover, so I'm gonna hard pivot us
Okay,
into our topic
that was a
because
delightful nostalgia run. Thank you for letting me have that.
it was. And now we're gonna have some Schadenfreude about dumb people. So we're bringing to the stage
Woo!
8,000ers, profiling man's natural predator. Because I
Hello.
have been on a deep dive.
I'm ready.
Okay. So I'm hopeful this is going to. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. I'm hopeful that all my animations will work. So, because speaking of our nostalgia time, I feel like my bad PowerPoints here make me feel nostalgic for when I first had PowerPoint and I would make bad PowerPoints.
I
So,
love PowerPoint.
Okay, so we're going to start with some context and then we'll have an Everest case study and then we'll talk about disaster. Yes, we're just getting into mountains. So,
Right on time.
strap in, everyone. Okay, so first of all, why are 8,000 meter plus peaks special? Well, there's only 14 of them in the entire world. All of them are are in the Himalayan and Karakoram mountain ranges that are like right there next to each other.
Oh.
And for context, anything over 1,500 meters is considered to be high altitude. So 8,000 meters is really, really, really high. And it becomes, well, it has a special name. 8,000 meters has a special name, which I won't spoil because I have some fun animation coming up for that. So they're special. And all of these got summited for the first time in the 50s and 60s because they started figuring out how to use supplemental oxygen. So before that, people had tried, and then they would basically die on the way down because oxygen, it turns out, is really, really important.
I wouldn't have thought that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Technically, there's only 3 people who are verified as having summited all 14 of these peaks. My personal favorite is Ed Viesters. Shout out 14. So he summited all 14, but technically Reinhold Messner is called the first person to do it. But subsequently, upon research, most of the 72 people who think they've summited probably haven't actually technically summited because there's a lot of like false summits. Ooh. So like there'll be the top, there's like the tippy top of the mountain, but it's hard to see under all the snow, so you're like a little bit off. So you're like virtually on the peak, but like not technically quite on the very peak.
Dang, you get all the way down and they're like, oh no, dude, you still have like 50 feet to climb. You're like,
and it's very sad because sometimes people think they summit, and then when they get back down, they find out they haven't because people who actually summited didn't see them there. So,
you can tell me, is there a medal or anything?
We'll get into this more. You do get a certificate, at least on the police side, that certifies that you summited.
Okay. Did something.
And we will have a whole discussion about what's going on. Kathleen.
I mean, I'm not from side, but you know,
I can't, undisputed. We'll get into this in the example, but there is some controversy about whether or not one should use supplemental oxygen at this point, because there are ways to summit without oxygen. So some people argue if it's possible, that's the only way people should be doing it. Yes. So, and Aaron, this is a great point. In the internet, I should make this disclaimer. If I attempted to even get to base camp of any of these, I would literally perish just being in. So I'm not saying that I could do any of this, but I'm also not dumb enough to try. I'm in the comments on the internet about these peaks. Everybody is like, I am enjoying Camp Zero here from my couch.
Yes.
And I'm like, that is me. I am going strong here at Camp Zero.
Same. I will stay here.
Yeah. Okay, so this is like the range of those. You might be asking yourself, what does it take to climb these mountains? So you have to be in shape, which is why I would literally perish even trying to get there. Like I literally think I would have a heart attack and die. So you do need to be physically fit. And then for most of these mountains, you do need to have like technical climbing skills. Some of them not so much though. Like for example, Everest, paradoxically, people think of it as being such an achievement, but from like a technical perspective, Everest is actually one of the easiest of these mountains to climb because it doesn't have a lot of like technically difficult parts.
Mm.
This is a little graph or a table of the percentage of people who have died trying to climb. So Annapurna is the most deadly, and some of it's because not that many people have even tried. So
That
yeah,
wow. I didn't
yeah.
even know all these existed.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so you need to be in shape. You also need to have some level of technical skill in climbing. You're going to need at least $25,000 to $100,000. And this is because you need, well, I guess let's say for like a commercial climbing expedition. So you're going to have to pay this climbing company. They have to pay all of the porters and Sherpas who are going to be hauling all your shit up this
And
mountain.
how much are they paying them?
We will get there because it is a fucking outrage. They have to pay them, and then also you have to be there. It usually takes 45 to 75 days to acclimatize and then get to the top.
What's so much? What do you
Who
mean?
has this much time?
25 to 75 days to just get used to it. Then
Well,
I'm
so
thinking they
like
get there a week before.
you can get there. So it takes for Everest, for example, it takes 2 weeks just to climb to the base camp.
Huh?
And part of why so there's some people now who are like helicoptering into base camp and skipping that, but it creates problems because at those altitudes you have to acclimatize. Like you will die if you don't take the proper acclimatization schedule. And some people are trying to get around it by like experimenting with different gases to use while they're climbing. Like somebody this year, I think, used xenon to be able to get there to base camp and to the top in 7 days. But like in general, your typical commercial expedition, you need time to acclimatize, and then you have to wait for the weather window to open up. Because like, and there's some years where it doesn't. So there is a decent chance you will pay $25,000 to $100,000 and not be able to try to summit.
I am floored. I am floored. A helicopter to pay 2 weeks, and all of it's a no. A no.
So Bob the orthodontist has to have this cash. He has to be in shape. He has to have his own business so that he can be gone for this long and not be working for 2 months. And he has to be practicing to make sure that he knows how to take care of himself on the mountain.
Like, where are you practicing this? I mean, I know they got the stair climber at the gym, but
I mean, that's part of the problem is that really, so I guess we're about to get there, but like part of the discussion here is like mountain climbing as a sport versus as a trophy. So in addition to these things, to be able to actually get up and come back down, you have to have very good decision-making skills when your brain is not working properly, and you have to be able to resist what is called summit fever, which is I'm not sure if it's in the DSM, but it's like a recognized phenomenon where like people will see that they're close and it just like shuts down the decision-making part of their brain, and all they can think about is getting to the top, even if they should turn around. So these are the things you need to do, and if you don't have these things, the mountain will eat you. So, oh, it didn't work. Okay, my animations are not going to work. So sad. Death Zone was going to flip in.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, it's a real tragedy. But anyway, there's some word art for you. So on the left side of the screen are the typical modus operandi of how these mountains try to kill you. Their weapons of choice. So even before you get to the death zone, and I'll tell you what that is, things that can happen to you on these mountains. First of all, there's a tremendous amount of falling. So you can fall because the wind literally is so intense. I'm talking hurricane level winds that it will just yeet you off the mountain. Alison Hargreaves was this famous British climber, and she got to the top of K2, and they're pretty sure that the wind just came along and like boinked her off of it.
I'm trying not to laugh. That's not funny. But I'm
But
having visuals.
yeah, there's avalanches constantly on these mountains because really the main time people are climbing them is in the summer. So because that's when it's before the monsoon season sets in and the winds become absolutely unworkable. But that means that the sun is beaming down and like melting things. So like there's avalanches all the time.
Dang.
There are hidden crevasses under the snow. Yeah. So
vertical limit. Sorry.
You could just be, bebopping along in your crampons, and all of a sudden there's just no more ground under you and you fall into a crevasse. And like, yes, we will get to the Sherpas. And yes, deep. Falling is the classic way to die on the mountain.
Nothing complicated. Yeah. Like those crevasses, like I can't imagine on the top of a mountain how deep those go.
Some of them are like infinite, terrifying pools into the abyss.
It's stuck in there.
Yeah. And sometimes you can fall in and climb back out, but sometimes you can't. And sometimes you like break your leg falling into the crevasse, and so you're completely screwed.
And then you just dive.
And then you just die. You can slip and fall down the mountain. Like if you slip and you just start tumbling ass over tea kettle, you're just going to hit your head on a rock and die. Like,
oh my God.
The avoidable. Weather and temperature. So interestingly, you can overheat on these mountains because what happens is, I'm not even getting into all the injuries you can get. I'm not even going to try to cover all those. But one of the things that happens is that because the sun is beaming down on the white snow, it actually can like overheat you and cause issues through that. Then obviously you can also get hypothermia, including frostbite, just your classic exposure. Like if you get stuck somewhere, you just, between the wind and the cold and
those elements.
Yeah. You can be undersupplied. So part of that money that you're paying is to have enough supplies to wait out a full potential 3-month period. And if you get low on supplies and get stuck somewhere, you're screwed. There can be rock or ice slides where they just bonk you on the head.
No instant.
Yeah. Classic exhaustion. You get to, this actually happens a lot. People will get to the top and they have no steam left and they basically just like lay down and die.
Damn.
Yeah. And then another classic, being stuck. So you can get stuck in ropes. There's one guy on Everest who I know of who got tangled up in the ropes climbing back down, and he was by himself and he was stuck upside down and he died because he couldn't get out of the
rope. Why was he?
The teams split. This is something I didn't realize. Like there's a lot of like, even if you're technically in a team, they're not sticking together.
That's
so
unwise.
Yeah. You can break your leg, like I mentioned, and then be stuck, and then, or you can get trapped under something. So these are just all the classic, even before you get to the death zone. Even before you get to that, these are all the ways that you could just die. And many of these are things where you did not do anything wrong.
Yeah.
The mountain just hates you and wants to eat you.
And it will have its fill.
Yeah.
Woo! That's scary.
So you're just signing up for that. The other thing you're signing up for if you're trying to summit these mountains is the death zone. So the reason why the 8,000 meter mark is so notable is because that's when the death zone starts. And every minute that you are above 8,000 meters, your body is literally dying. Like the cells in your body are literally starting to shut down.
No thanks.
Yeah. So the lack of oxygen is called hypoxia.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the normal, this is like people who are not having a particularly bad reaction to this. These are just the symptoms you can experience. So extreme disorientation. So people are like hallucinating. People are like making terrible decisions because they can't think right. They like sometimes they don't recognize each other. Like you just have cognition issues. You're hyperventilating because every breath you take, you're not getting enough oxygen in that breath. So your body is trying to make up for it by breathing fast.
Mm-hmm.
You get thrombosis or like clots because basically, if you don't have enough oxygen, it thickens your blood. And then you have many people get climber's cough. And this cough is so intense, people crack ribs coughing so hard from this.
My Lord. Oh. Cracking a rib from a cough is crazy work.
That is crazy. Okay. And then the really intense stuff is HACE, HAPE, and HAFE. So HACE is cerebral edema, HAPE is pulmonary edema, and then I don't know what the F stands for, but I just am assuming it's farting edema because that's the digestion one. So HACE is your brain swells and you die.
Oh.
HAPE is your lungs fill with fluid and you die.
Heard of that.
And HAPE, I don't know if you actually die from the farts, but you get like your entire digestion system swells.
Ooh.
So it's just bad. And there's no way to know until like, so first of all, you don't know the first time you go up if you're going to get one of these. It's like a complete roll of the dice. There's no way to like predict who's going to get it. So there are people who the first time they go on one of these die because they didn't know that they didn't react well. Like they could be completely healthy, fit people.
Yeah.
And they just happen to genetically be predisposed to get one of these and they just die. And there's no way to predict if it's going to be you or not.
No, thank you.
And then there's other people who have been multiple times who haven't had problems. And then all of a sudden they just start having a problem.
That's crazy. People do this multiple times, or I guess you said the people who's trying to summit all of them.
Yeah, I mean, many people do this multiple times.
Correct. Yeah.
Which could not.
It seems so miserable. Like I've seen the camping on the side, like camping in general in temperate, even ground,
beautiful 70-degree day on flat ground. Yeah,
on the side of a frigid mountain where you can barely breathe.
Yeah, and you're paying $100,000 to be there and to do it.
Here for months,
shitting in a bag.
What are you eating? Oh my god! Yes. What are you eating? How much? Because Because like if they have to bring all of that stuff up there, how much water are you? What?
We'll talk about it because it's a problem.
Oh my!
So these are the ways that you could die, and likely will. This isn't missing another animation here, but you may be asking yourself, why would anybody do this?
Yes, I am.
And there's not really a good answer. Like some people, so there are people who have, or okay, I'll try to be fair. I think that there's some people who have sort of like a logical progression of the enjoyment of the sport. So like, let's say you live in Colorado, you grow up going to the mountains and skiing, you get really into it, you like to go hiking, and you kind of just like gradually start climbing bigger and bigger mountains.
Mm.
That's kind of like the most reasonable, sane scenario for why people do this. But the other thing is that's the sport. The other side of it is it became a trophy. So this gentleman, this like,
he looked real rich.
He looks like an evil white man.
Like he owns a lot of property in Dubai, Switzerland, New York City.
He looks like he's got a lot of child slaves somewhere who are producing, ill-gotten goods for him. I don't know that he may be a perfectly lovely man. I don't know, but his name is Dick Bass. Okay, yes, he does look like a Bond villain.
That's right.
And also, Mount Washington is terrifying. It's not that tall, but it gets hurricane level storms out of nowhere, and it's so
Oh,
scary.
oh no.
Um, so I'm glad you made it. But so Dick Bass, so there's this kind of tipping point in the 80s to 90s where climbing these peaks goes from being like essentially professional climbers are the only people doing it to it becoming commercialized. And
Mm.
Dick Bass was the first one to pioneer this, and he did what's called the Seven Summits, where you climb the highest mountain on every continent, including Antarctica. So he paid professionals to guide him to do this. And from that, it sort of like begat these mountains becoming a part of luxury adventure travel,
Oh, I hate
where
this.
like the whole point is that you want to be able to tell people you did this at a cocktail party in Dubai. Like that's really
Ugh.
a big driver
Let
for
her
many
leave her
people.
alone. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So I think that there are people who do these for, I'm going to say, legitimate sporting reasons
Mm-hmm.
that are kind of intrinsically frivolous, but I think like at least have some legitimacy in the way that any sport might have legitimacy. But I would say it seems to me that that's the vast minority at this point, and most
Yeah,
people are doing this for like trophy slash like weird personal quest,
that's so insane.
whatever.
What's the average time that people spend prepping for this?
It varies a lot, and it depends on how people who live versus people who die. We'll talk about a story that's very sad about somebody who did not prep enough and died. Um, so we're going to talk about a case study. Also, you're going to be seeing some Procreate art from me because I'm practicing. So I was
Amazing.
trying to show all of the points. And is this big enough? Can you like see any of this? I can't tell on my
I can see
screen.
it.
Okay. So let's talk about Everest, and I want to just give you some reference points geographically so you know where we're talking about. So this is Everest. Oop, you can't see where, can you see where my mouse is?
No.
Okay. Well, will it let me? This is a good question. I don't know if there's a way to do that. Okay. Well, I'll look that up for future PowerPointing. But okay. So you can see, hopefully you can see where it says Everest Peak at the top
Yes.
on the left-hand side. Okay. So there's two sides to Everest. There's the China side, which is called the North Face, and then there's the Nepalese side, which is the South Face.
Mm-hmm.
Most people go from the Nepalese side because it's easier to get permits from Nepal than it is from China. So this is kind of like the typical southern route where you start at base camp, and really the acclimatization schedule is you're going from base camp to camp 1 and then back, base camp to camp 2 and then back. Like you're doing these sort of like practice,
And then bang.
like you're doing to acclimatize. Like they're sending the Sherpas up to drop supplies off. Like that's a big part of your Everest or any of these mountains experience, is you just are going up and back to the camps to acclimatize and get practice in. So that's like 2/3 of your time is doing that.
That's crazy.
Then when you get your weather window, so sometimes they'll kind of hang out at camp 2 if they think that the weather window is coming up. So if you get your weather window, that's when it's like balls to the wall, let's do this. And so you are climbing for like basically 3 or 4 days straight. So you leave from camp 3 and then you get up to camp 4. You do that. Camp 3 to camp 4 is like very vertical and miserable. So you get to camp 4 usually sort of in the early afternoon. And then you, at about between 9 to 11 at night, you start hiking. And then if you look over on the right side, this is just the camp 4 journey. So you start climbing from camp 4 at about, let's say, 10 o'clock at night, and you are climbing for like up to 12 hours in the dark to get up to the summit. You have to go up the triangular face. This is like a slippy, slidey, icy mess. You get to this thing called the balcony. And then between the balcony and the south summit is just like ridge, narrow ridge. You're like inching on it one at a time. You get to the south summit, you swap your oxygen bottle if you're using oxygen. Then you have to get over the Hillary Step, which is like a rock climbing situation. And then you're at the top. And the top is about the size of a bathtub.
What?
So there's not many people who can actually stay at the top because unless there's not a big lineup, there's just not enough room. And then
it's so small.
It's that small. And then you just kind of look around and go, and then you turn around and go back down.
Can you even see anything from up there? Is it just clouds?
It depends on the day. But yeah, you can see stuff. There's a really cool video by Ryan Mitchell where he put a GoPro on his helmet. So it's like POV climbing. And that's all anyone needs to do, because it is beautiful, and he has given you the beauty with that footage. You don't need to do this yourself. Like that's it, yeah, it's beautiful, but is it worth all of this beautiful? Absolutely. I would say not. Probably not. Probably not.
This already sounded miserable before I learned all of these things. Hand over a midnight climbing,
climbing. Yeah. And then you get down, and so then you climb down. At that point, you've basically been climbing for like, with some rests, about like 36 hours. So then you get back down to Camp 4, which is still in the death zone. So if you're not careful, you can get stuck in the death zone because you're just completely exhausted by the time you get back down even to Camp 4. So you're not even safe when you get to Camp 4 is the point.
How wide is this space between Camp 4 and the peak? Like, is there enough room for people to be coming back down? Are you coming back down as other people are going up?
So now they're doing fixed lines for most of this. So no, like it's pretty much one at a time. Now, back in the day when they didn't have fixed lines and you were kind of free climbing, there was more room. But if you're going to use the lines, it's one at a time. So if there's somebody who stops in front of you, you're just stuck unless you're confident enough to unclip from the line and go around them. And not everybody is. So that gets us to some ethical issues with Everest that we're going to use as a case study to talk about our disaster. So first of all, as I mentioned, you have to shit in a bag. Well, not everybody does shit in a bag. Some people just shit out in the middle of nowhere. So Camp 4 smells like a sewage plant. Oh. And then everybody is supposed to bring their trash down, but they don't. So Camp 3 and Camp 4 are covered in trash. The beauty of nature.
I hate people.
Yeah. Also, we were talking about the Sherpa. So this entire thing is a post-colonialism nightmare. So first of all, Everest should actually be called Chomolungma or Sagarmatha. Those are the original names of this mountain. And the mountain is a goddess in Sherpa Buddhist religion. Okay, so like even just people doing this commercial whatever has some very questionable ethics in terms of the cultural significance of what's going on. And it's also so intrinsically exploitative because Nepal is a very impoverished country. They are landlocked. They have no real natural resources. And this has become so much of their money is in tourism now. And these Sherpa people, so by the way, I didn't know this until I got into this. Sherpa is both a profession, which is how we typically use it, but they are also an ethnic group called the Sherpa. And the Sherpa have actually genetically adapted in a way that to be at high altitude. So they tend to be much better at being at high altitudes.
Yeah.
Which is why they're so sought after as porters. But they're in these very rural communities with almost no like anything. So there's so many of these Sherpa who are doing this because they're trying to be able to save up money to send their kids to Kathmandu so their kids can get education and not have to do this. So there's like a whole ethical exploitation factor happening here because if you look, do you see these little ladders?
Yes. What
Okay.
is that?
Those are what are called ice doctors. They're the Sherpa who specialize in setting the route every year. And those ladders are over crevasses. So
No.
so they are putting their lives completely on the line to set the route, much less each trip that happens, and they are typically paid $1,000 to $3,000 per expedition. So if you're thinking like, oh, I'm paying all this money, but most of it is going to the Sherpa, absolutely not.
Insane.
Yeah. Some of them, I don't know what the current rates are. Some of them make like $700 for this expedition, and it's like
They
of
need to be
the
making 25 to, they need to be making half at least of this.
of this money. Yeah. And I completely agree. If your dangerous hobby requires other people, you pay almost nothing to put their lives at risk, you need to change hobbies. Very much that.
This is disgusting.
And in 2015, there was a glacier like this, or I think 2014, there was a massive glacier fall that killed like 12 ice doctors. I mean, it's extremely dangerous.
That looks, I mean, that just, I don't even care if that was like 5 feet under there. I don't think I could put a ladder, especially not a crevasse at the top of this tall ass mountain.
No. So it's incredibly exploitative of the local population. And it's that classic luxury tourism thing where it's like, okay, it's like good to bring money into this economy, but the way that it's happening is so exploitative. Like,
yeah, that, and the trash photo is enraging. I'm so,
yeah.
on a very much smaller scale, since I've gotten to running and I've seen people post this on TikTok. It says, so people who will run longer distances will take gels or stuff on the run with them to like for fuel, and they will drop them on the ground. You brought it with you. Take it back. It is not that hard. I don't understand. That is so disgusting. You're gonna
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's been a big effort in the last couple of years to start cleaning up more. And that's actually one of the only ethical ways I think you could do one of these expeditions, is that there are some expeditions that focus on trash collection.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
like the whole, you'll do the summit, you'll do the whole thing, but like part of their permit is that you are going to bring back X amount of trash. Okay. So I think that would probably be one of the only ethical ways I think you could do one of these at this point.
I hate stuff like this where it's like, get the trash off the mountain, stop doing it, but then when it's so entwined into the local economy,
yeah. And then to your point, so
what is this? Line?
So because Everest has become so commercialized, it literally is so many people who have no business being there. So it's people so first of all, the volume of people is intrinsically dangerous because of this line. So the year that this happened, a bunch of people died because they ran out of oxygen waiting in line to get to the summit.
Oh my God. This is an insane picture.
It's literally, you have paid $100,000 to stand in queue with no oxygen.
I got mad the other day waiting for an ice cream cone. I was just standing on the ground. It was hot.
Yeah.
The mosquito did bite me. And I was like, wow, this ice cream cone better be worth it. It was. But that is you're just waiting up. Barely, oh my God.
Yeah. You're waiting in queue to get to the summit, to stand there for 2 minutes because there's a huge line behind you, to take your Instagram picture and then turn around. So there's that. Then the other thing is that people are relying. So on the left, I don't know if you're able to tell, but that is a Sherpa who has literally wrapped up his client and is hauling him down the mountain, which is incredibly dangerous. In general, if you can't walk, you can't be rescued. But recently, they've started trying to find ways to get these people
Really?
off the mountain. And it's people who are over relying on their guides and have no, like, part of what mountaineering as a sport is supposed to be about is self-reliance.
Mm-hmm.
And like, hey, when you're on the mountain, it's you're all you got. Like, you got to be able to get yourself up and you got to be able to get yourself down on your own steam, like whatever you need to do. And if you can't get all the way up and not get down by yourself, then you shouldn't go all the way up.
That is insane. I thought that was just like some pack or something like that. That's a person on
That's
their
a
back.
person on their back. And so that is risking the lives. Basically, when you do this, you're putting everybody else's life at risk, because it's almost impossible. Like, this Sherpa, I don't know who this is. I don't know if this is like Ang Dorje or Rita Kami. There's like famous Sherpa who like have summited a bunch of times and are known as like the best, strongest ones. But I don't know who is doing this, but this is extraordinary and is almost impossible for most Sherpa to do. So it's like, you're putting the Sherpa's life at risk for sure, because they have like this intrinsic relationship with you where you're paying them to guide you. So they have an ethical conflict if you fall down and can't keep moving, where they want to stay with you, but like they will die if they stay with you because they're out of oxygen too.
Yeah.
So
Oh
you're putting
my God.
and you're putting other, like, if you do this in the middle of a fixed line where everybody has to walk around you, you're putting everybody's life in danger doing that. Like,
When do they start using oxygen? Do they start at base camp?
no, you're not supposed to start until camp 3.
Jesus Christ. That this photo is frying my brain.
Yeah.
Both of them. The waiting, queuing on the
Queuing
side
up.
at the climbing 12 out, and you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
well.
And then on the far right, and I felt comfortable showing this because I just don't think it's distinct enough. Like, there's a flag over the person. But this is a Canadian woman who is kind of like a famous example of somebody who's like, I've decided I'm going to climb Mount Everest. So she like was physically fit. She did some workouts and like some training beforehand, but she had never climbed a mountain even close as high as Everest. She didn't have any of the technical know-how she needed to have. And she died because she couldn't get back down. Like, she just wasn't skilled enough to do it. And it's not enough to just be in good shape. Like, you have to have
good shape, and money are not enough.
Yeah. And again, putting her Sherpa's life at risk, like, because he was trying to like get her to keep moving. There's like a saying, I guess, in mountaineering of like speed is safety. So like, you got to keep moving, because if you stop moving, that's also part of why this queuing situation is so dangerous. Part of what's keeping your body going is moving. So if you stop, your body starts shutting down as soon as you stop. And this is a great point about the Sherpa too. Like, if you die, then that could impact their livelihood if you get a reputation of
makes them look bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Whew. Yes. And like, now there's a whole sub industry on Everest of them rescuing people. So like, so there's like a whole helicopter industry.
How? That seems dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
Like, helicopters already terrify me in their own existence. In regular
situations, you couldn't pay me to get on a helicopter.
Medical, too much.
Yeah.
But up in a mountain trying to land on a how?
Mm-hmm. It's completely dangerous. And actually, it was impossible up until the early 2000s. Like, literally, the air is so thin that the helicopters couldn't get enough propulsion to get up and down.
I would love to see, that's so morbid, but I would just love to see what they charge somebody to come rescue up the side of Mount Everest.
I think it's like $25,000 or something, but
it's got at least.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ethical issues, and this is what happens when a mountain is completely commercialized. But these problems didn't just start yesterday. This started when the mountain started getting very commercialized in the mid-90s, which leads us to the disaster. And for those of you who follow mountaineering stuff, you might think you know what disaster we're going to talk about. And I am obsessed with that disaster and am working on a project with it. But we're not going to talk about that one. We're going to talk about K2 because K2 is on its way to be the new Everest. So right now, K2 is it's the second highest mountain, but it's called the Savage Mountain, which I don't know how I feel about that. But it's one of the hardest mountains to climb. It's much more technically difficult climb than Everest, and it's the second highest. So it's sort of like the mountaineer's mountain of like, it's not, you can't just be physically fit and climb K2. You sometimes can do that with Everest, but that's not enough on K2. So we're going to talk about the 2008 K2 disaster. And looking at the time, I'll try to do a speed run of this. But so K2 is in Pakistan. It's in the Karakoram range. And it is, so Kogari is the local name for it now. At the time, it didn't have a local name because it was so remote that not enough people had gone to it to give it a local name that stuck. So in the survey, it was Karakoram 2 or K2. And like, it's so remote. That's part of why it hasn't been commercialized as much as Everest yet, because it's even harder to get to than Everest is.
Yeah.
And its death zone starts also around Camp 4, and on K2 that's called the shoulder. And there's two routes up it. There's one called the Abruzzi Spur, which is the pink one, and I don't totally know why people prefer this one. Like, it's the more common one, but it sounds like the Sazin route, which is a little bit more direct, is supposed to be easier, but not as many people use it. I think it's more exposed to the wind. Maybe that's why people don't do it as much. But anyway, so there's two different routes up it. And it's major once you get to Camp 4. On the right-hand side, I've shown sort of like the landscape here. So you've got this route through this thing called the bottleneck. And the bottleneck looks like this is why I think the mountain might be actually a goddess and real and have thoughts, because it looks like if you were trying to create a mousetrap to kill humans. Like, it looks like, so it basically, the only way up on this side is you have to go through the bottleneck, and up there where it says Balcony Sirach, it's literally a gigantic cube of ice that's overhanging it that constantly is like having avalanches, and like you're funneled through the bottleneck, and so they just hit you and you have nowhere to go. Yeah. So you do that, and then you go through, I don't know if you can read that, but it says the traverse, and that's where you're literally on the side of the mountain, like 1 foot path, like inching along. And then like, you get
shimmy. Oh my God.
And then you go through the snow field, which is all of this like waist deep snow. There's crevasses everywhere that you just fall in.
Waist deep.
Yeah. And then you finally get up to the summit.
How big is that summit?
Not much bigger. I think it's a little bigger than Everest, but not by much. Not enough for a bunch of people to be up there. Let's put it that way. So that's kind of just to give you reference of what I'm talking about when I talk about different places.
Why did I think summits were big? Because obviously I have never summited a mountain. Why did I think they were more spacious?
Yeah. Some of them are, like, some of them are flatter on the top, but the Himalayas are new and they're still growing. Like, they're very pointy.
Oh.
All that tectonic activity. Okay, so this is just some references. Let's talk about the people involved, and I'm just going to tell you the story. I've got all the names up here because there were 31 people who were climbing the day that all this happened, and that's a lot of people.
Dang.
So you can see there's basically 8 different groups. And you know what? I'll also say, rare W for Americans on this one, because we were not the ones acting foolish. Yeah. We don't get to say that very often.
No.
But the American team was the one that was acting the best that day. They were on the international team. Okay. So picture it, 2008. Ton of people are at K2 this year, like more than normal. There's all these 8 different groups. Everybody's trying to get up, and the weather window keeps not coming. So they're waiting. It's getting to the end of July, and everybody's kind of looking around thinking like, it may not happen this year because there's just, people kind of know once you get into August, like that's when monsoon season is starting and you're just not going to get a weather window. Okay, so but then they get a forecast that tells them they think they're going to get a window. So everybody's going to be trying to go at the same time. This is the hallmark of a disaster on these mountains, is when there's not been a weather window for a long time and then everybody wants to go on the same day. So they are all together at base camp. They're all trying to do a coordination and say, okay, we're all going to be trying to make the summit at the same time. Let's try to coordinate so that this isn't a huge line and an issue once we get up there. So they all agree that each group will provide their strongest person, and that team will go out ahead of everybody by about 2 hours so that they'll break the trail. And that way, when they're going, they're not going to get backed up waiting for the trail to be broken. It should be a pretty, people can keep moving. So they all agreed to that. So they do the climb. They get to Camp 3. They're going up the two different routes. And I will say, I'm not going to say anyone is a villain in this, but I will say there is one person who I find deeply hypocritical and very infuriating. And he's on the Sazen route. So the Dutch Norit team and the French team are the two that are going up the Sazen route. And Wilco is my antagonist here. I don't care for him. He's very arrogant and, in my mind, very hypocritical. So they all get to Camp 3. It's a really bad night at Camp 3. On the Sazen route, their tents are basically like ripped off nearly the mountain. It's so windy that they like almost get yeeted off the mountain. One of the independent guys, the Serbian guy, tried to go up the Sazen route and his tent blew away. So he was out in the snow and he tried to go into the tent with Wilco, and Wilco wouldn't let him in, even though he was literally going to die if he didn't get into somebody's tent. So then he had to go to a different tent and they let him in. But like, not good vibes on Camp 3. Oof. So then they all get to Camp 4, and that's where the routes come back together. So everybody's back together at Camp 4. And it's a perfect day, the day of the summit. Like, all of them are like, we have never seen such a clear day on this mountain before. This is amazing. Like, this is a perfect day to summit. But the team that's supposed to go out in front cannot get organized. So you can see the Korean team was the biggest one, and Mr. Kim was very like, my team is going to take point. I'm going to do the inventory. I'm going to get things going. And they just like can't get going. And one of the things that happened is that over on the Serbian team, Shaheen, he was a guide who was like super experienced on K2. He was like the strongest one, but that year he had gotten high altitude pulmonary edema. So he wasn't there to help them break the trail. He had to go back down. So the only person left who had been to the top before was Muhammad, but Muhammad couldn't speak any English. So he couldn't look at the different teams here. Almost nobody speaks the same language. So they're trying to use English as their shared. They just couldn't get on. Nobody could get on the same page. Muhammad knew what to do, but nobody would listen to him. And it was because he couldn't speak English. So they finally start out. They're 2 hours late. And they start fixing rope way too early. So when you get to the traverse, you need that entire thing roped off normally. But they started fixing the rope so early that by the time they got to the traverse, they didn't have any rope left. So they had to send someone down to go get rope that they'd already fixed. unfix it, and bring it back up.
Do you mean like so it's there and they can like
Yeah.
like
So
help
like you
themselves along?
yeah, that's what the trail breaking is. It's like one guy has one end of the rope and an ice screw, and he like raw
Oh,
dogs it up and then like
oh,
wraps it
oh,
around, and then everybody behind him can use the rope to go up.
dang.
Yeah. So, couldn't sounds like not my gift. Could not do that.
Mm-mm-mm.
Um so they're way behind anyway, just getting everything fixed. And then everybody is moving way too slow. So by the time they get to the bottleneck, most of them are already at what should be the turnaround time. So that's a big concept in mountaineering, is that beforehand everybody picks a turnaround time and you need to stick with it. If you don't turn around at that time, no matter where you are, that you'll get caught out in the dark, and if you get caught out in the dark, you more than likely will die. So at 2 o'clock, the international team, which is Frederick, Eric, and Chris, and Shearing. Oh no, Shearing was ahead. He was a part of the trail breaking, so he was out. But the rest of them looked and were like, "Everybody's moving too slow. It's not going to happen. Like we messed this up, but now we got to turn around." So the Americans turn around. Everybody else keeps going. So they're all in the bottleneck. They're all like, apparently the Koreans were moving extremely slow. Um, it was getting all backed up. And then when they got to the traverse, one of the Serbian guys, Dren, needed to change his oxygen bottle. He tries to go around someone to do that, and he falls sadly to his death.
Damn.
So it's past the turnaround time, and now somebody's died. So they're radioing, the Americans are back at Camp 4 radioing, being like, "What happened? Are you guys going to," and they tell them, they're like, "Are you going to turn around?" And nobody really decides to turn around. They just keep going. So the only people who do turn around are the rest of the Serbian team. So because they want to bring Dren's body back.
Mm-hmm.
So they turn around, and then also Jahan from the French team also turns back with them to help them. So the Americans are going up because by the time they think Dren is still alive, he didn't die initially. They could see him moving. So Frederick, who actually is an American, I think he's Swedish. So Frederick and Eric, who is American and is a doctor, are like, I think the doctor basically was like, "I have an obligation. If he's still alive, I need to go see if I can help him." So they go up, and by the time they get there, Dren is dead. And they're like, "Okay, well, we need to leave him here because there's no safe way to get him down." Serbians are insistent, "We gotta try." So they're like, "Okay, we can try, and if it doesn't work, then we're gonna have to leave him. Like we'll help you try, but we can't promise."
Like that sounds really hard to try to just let alone yourself, but bring another literally dead body back down a mountain.
Totally, because imagine you're basically like, he's like falling basically in front of you on these lines, and you're having to like hold on and like trot to keep up with him. Like, it's very dangerous. And Jahan it seems like he probably was having some altitude issues. It sounds like he was slow that morning. He just like fell into Frederick and was about to pull Frederick off, and Frederick's like, "Release the rope," and then you use your ice pick to self-arrest. So basically, if you start falling, you're supposed to take your ice pick and go,
Mm-hmm.
and then like you stop. So Jahan let go, but for some reason he didn't self-arrest, so that he literally just fell off the mountain in front of them and died.
Jesus.
So now we got 2 people dead. And Frederick and Eric are like, "Fuck this." We're leaving Dren here. Like, "I'm sorry, somebody's already died trying to bring him down. We're not doing this anymore."
Mm-hmm.
So they have to leave Dren there. So this rest of the Serbian team, and they go down. Everybody else is still going up, and it's getting later and later and later. And people are not. The first person to summit was at 3 o'clock, And turnaround time, like really, they all should have summited about between 11 and 12.
Damn.
So they are so late. They're so late. Alberto's the first one. And the only reason he got there that quickly was he just got tired of waiting. And so he just free climbed up because it was taking so long waiting on everyone. So everybody's getting up to the top. Like most of these people do end up summiting. Rolf from the Norwegian team stays behind because he's like, I'm not feeling strong. I'll wait for you guys to come back down and then we'll go down together. So cut to, it's about 6 o'clock, maybe 6:30. It's still light out, but it's about to be dark. They need to be getting down. The Norwegian team is making their way down. Rolf is in front, and the first avalanche of the day starts. And he literally, so he was married to Cecily, and she literally just saw him taken out. Like there was no trace of where he just literally is gone.
Yeah.
And the rope is cut. So going back down the traverse, that place where you're going like,
oh yeah, with no rope.
There's no rope now. So Cecily, luckily, prepared lady, had some rope with her, so they were able to fix a little bit of it. So any rope from now on that you hear about in the story is because the woman came prepared. Just saying. But so after that trauma, somehow they do manage to get down, but they were towards the front, and there's a ton of people behind them because everybody summited so late who are now climbing down in the dark and don't know that there's no rope. So they're all looking for these ropes and then like getting off the trail and getting lost in the dark. So they're like wandering around in the dark on this like side of a mountain with no rope and no oxygen.
How much is there? Do they like? Is there a place for them to wander, or are they just falling off the side?
I mean, like I can't remember if anybody just straight up fell off. I think the people who were closest to doing that were the Dutch Nordic team, and they decided to just bivouac overnight. They were like, it's too dangerous, we can't keep going. So they literally just like carve out a little like hut in the snow and all stay together until the light comes back. But what happens is most of the Korean team gets in a basically like some kind of avalanche, and they're stuck like under rocks. Jumik, who's one of their Sherpa, is dangling upside down but alive on the side of this rock after this avalanche. It's really bad. And Pasang Lama, different than Big Pasang, who will come back later, but Pasang Lama doesn't have his ice axe anymore. So Shearing from the international team short ropes him. So he literally ties a rope to him, and they're just going to freestyle in the dark. And basically, like, at first Pasang is crying and he's like, I know you have to go down without me. And Shearing's like, I almost did, but like, I just realized it was not the right thing to do. And I was like, if we go down, if one of us falls, we'll fall together. Like, he is a fucking hero. So they do fall a couple of times, but they're able to self-arrest. Somehow they make it down after they got separated from everyone. Pimba, does he go back up at this point? No. So during the night, Hughes from the French team dies. Kareem died. Or no, Kareem's not dead yet. Spoilers, he will die. Hughes dies during the night. I think he does actually just fall. That's who actually just like slips and falls and dies. Who else is stuck out? Most of the Koreans that are listed up there are stuck out. And then most of the Dutch Nordic team are stuck out. So they get through the night. The next morning, they're making their way down. Wilco, who went up, he was all high and mighty about all these inexperienced climbers. He's the one who went up too late and got stuck out. And now he has snow blindness. which is where the light from the sun is so intense that it gives your eyeball sunburn.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember that from Ice Road Truckers. I used to watch that.
Yes, exactly. So the Dutch Nort team, Cass made it back the night before. He was like, fuck this, I'm just gonna keep going until I get down there. And Pemba also got down. But Jer and Wilco and Marco, that's the other one who was with them. He was an Italian. They're all together, they're trying to get down, and they come across the Koreans who are still alive. And Wilco keeps going because he has snow blindness, which that's fair, whatever, but he doesn't stick around to try to help them. Freaking Wilco with your hypocritical whatever. But Jer and Marco try to help. Marco eventually is like, there's nothing I can do. I'm going to keep going. Jer also had something like this happen on Everest, and he wouldn't leave his team when it happened. So they're pretty sure he just was like, I can't live with myself if I don't try to help these people. They're still alive. So Jer eventually gets them free. Big Pasang goes back up to help because he had made it down the night before. So Big Pasang and Jer are helping the Koreans who are still, and Jumik, who are still alive, get down. And there's another avalanche.
Good God.
And they are all killed. And also Kareem, because he had found them at that point and was walking with them, probably. So in that avalanche, Marco is spared because Pemba had gone back out to save him. And Pemba literally threw his body on Marco to save him. So again, Pemba, freaking hero. Pemba climbed for 90 hours to summit, and then he was like still awake to save people. It's crazy.
Mom.
Pemba is a freaking badass. Yeah. So, okay, yeah. I think that's the story. So by the end of this, Wilco ends up having spent another night out. So he was out above the death zone for 2 nights in a row. He's the only person that they know of who survived doing that, but he lost like most of his foot to frostbite. Like everybody who was out who survived had like horrible frostbite. And by the end of it, 11 people are dead. So all the people who are highlighted died.
Damn.
So I think the worst disaster in K2 history, and of the people who survived, to this question, did they continue to climb mountains? Yes, they did. Because, for example, Gomi Sung died the next year on Nang Pombat. Alberto died a few years later on Nang Pombat. So that's the thing. Even in these stories, when people survive, half the time they're like, where are they now? And then they died later on a different mountain.
That was your sign.
I know. And Cecily, even after losing her husband, kept going. Like, damn. I think she did a solo with no support in Antarctica a couple years after this. Like, even when the mountain actively tried to eat you, these people keep going.
That is crazy. I did not know people were climbing mountains on Antarctica. Leave her alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the abbreviated, summarized version. And there's a lot. There's different events of what happened. So if you want to look into all the possibilities of exactly the sequence of events, you can. And if you're interested in hearing from them, a bunch of them were taking vlog footage. So we have like a lot of actual footage from this.
From 2008? Oh my
yes. God. A lot of them were working on documentaries. Actually, really sadly, you can hear when Jahan died, like, they hadn't turned the camera off. They just put it in a pocket, and you can hear him screaming as he goes over it's very sad.
I have this Ryan Mitchell climbing Mount Everest thing up. And why does he look like a child?
He basically is. I think he's like 21, maybe.
What?
Yeah. Reminds me of that nurse from yes, exactly. That lady who was on all 3 versions of the Titanic ship and kept going.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So there's an example. So basically, this happened in 2008. It's very analogous to a situation that happened on Everest right when it was starting to be more commercialized. And K2 is in the full route of being as commercialized as Everest now. Like every year, there's more people climbing.
You said this one is more remote. So is it like they have to fly to whatever major city in Nepal and then
They
it's like a
fly.
long drive?
They fly to Islamabad, then they helicopter to I think it's called Luklo, and then it's like a 2 week trek, or maybe even 3 week trek from there. Yeah.
Ew.
With me did a solo trip to the North Pole. Absolutely not.
No.
Ah,
My flabber is gasted.
yeah. And
What?
see, I'm with Katie because the highest mountain I've ever climbed is oh gosh, I can't remember what the actual name of it is. The white man name is Klingman's Dome. It's the highest point in the Appalachian, and I think it's like 2,000 meters, something like that. And that was
I
plenty for
thought
me.
we would go on like hikes and stuff when we lived in Washington, and I forgot the name of it was like Mount Storm King or something. And like I would look them up before and you make sure beginner to intermediate.
Yeah. Yeah, the
And that one,
Appalachian.
that one lied a little bit because we were like, and like we almost got to the top, but then the people were coming back. They're like, "You got to climb hand and foot," and we were like, "Let's get
No,
our photos and let's go back down." And that was
absolutely
enough
not.
for me. I was like, "Beautiful view, thank you," and
Well,
that was it. And that probably was something like that, like 2000, and that was enough.
that's the thing is the other thing is their fixation on summiting is so odd to me because like if you made it to camp 2 or 3 on any of these mountains, that's still incredibly impressive. Like you can still say you climbed that mountain even if you didn't
Yeah, and you
like
didn't have to risk. It's already too much just to get to camp too.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I will say even though one of the Norwegians died, that was honestly like just because there was an avalanche. I do think they and the Americans on that particular disaster had the best attitude because like in the interviews they're like we all agreed like the most important thing is being able to get back down, like let's see how far we get, and if we can't get there then
Yeah,
we'll have
that's
to turn
just.
around and try again next year.
I'm curious because I didn't realize how long they had to be there beforehand to acclimatize.
Yeah.
Um, how are
Well,
they
and
bringing enough stuff? Like, can that travel by helicopter, or are the Sherpas just like live near base camp?
they
Or
use yaks to get stuff to base camp or helicopters now. They didn't used to do helicopters, but they have started doing that more. Yeah. So you have to haul everything you need, you have to bring with you. No, no. I mean, one time I was hiking with my cousins in the Smokies, and there's a place called the Chimney Tops. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. Recommend if you're ever in the Smokies. And it was winter, and it started snowing, and we were like, it'll be fine. And it was fine to get up. And then when we were coming back down, we like all of us were like, okay, well, if anybody falls and like sprains their ankle, we're all fucked because how are we going to get somebody to? And that's the
Yeah.
Smokies. Like that probably
Sometimes
was.
coming back down is worse.
It's that's
I've done
yeah,
that before where I'm like, oh, this sucks. Because like I
yeah.
feel like it's easier to like lean forward when you're climbing up, but climbing down, you're like,
You have to be so careful because like if your foot gets out from you, you just.
yeah.
So in conclusion,
Wow.
the mountains are evil.
Stay
I
off
mean,
them.
they're not evil. They're beautiful. I love them. I revere
We
them,
should, that's what
but
we
they
should do.
are our natural predators.
Yeah. We don't
Yeah,
belong up there. It's
yeah.
like free diving, scuba diving, cave
Okay,
diving. That's not our
that's not
business.
for us. No, it's not where we're meant to be. I enjoy and appreciate the beauty of a lion, but
Mm-hmm.
the lion wants to eat me. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna look at it from over there,
Yeah.
you know?
I don't need to be that close to none of I don't need to do that. I can just appreciate, I can be in awe.
Yeah.
I can stay over here in my business. I already risked
Plenty
my
of,
life just getting in a car and living in America. That's
yeah.
enough.
Well, that's what a lot of them will say is like, well, we all take risks. Whenever you drive a car, you're taking a risk. And I'm like, well, I'm driving a car to go to work.
Yeah.
You're climbing this mountain just
I'm
cuz.
not like driving NASCAR. I'm not. This is to get to and fro. I live in America. I can't help that. But
Yeah.
like,
And 1 in 8 people doesn't die in a car crash.
say like, no, thank you.
So
That's crazy. This is. Thank you so much. I learned so much. I already knew it was foolishness, and now I knew it's foolishness to the umpteenth degree.
it is,
Foolishness,
yeah.
unethical. Get your trash off the mountain and pay
Get your
these.
trash. Yeah. I will say if you're doing one of these climbs, I think the only possible ethical framing for it is if you are going on one of these trash collecting ones.
Yes. And now I'm going to be trying to find Vertical Limit on some streaming device because that used to be my movie. 2000. Bill Paxton. Rest in peace. Chris O'Donnell.
Oh, what a king.
Robin Tunney. Bill
Yeah.
Paxton. My dog. Yeah, I love Vertical Limit. I never watched K2. Now I want to watch these movies.
Yeah. Well, and also if you're interested in this, much like how I said there's tons of maritime disaster videos out there that I'm
Yeah.
enjoying, there's also tons of mountaineering
Yes.
accident videos. So
Are we going to do one on people who like to go into caves?
I feel like that's what we got to do now. We've done boats, we've done mountains. I feel like caves are our natural progression here.
Because yeah.
I've not progressed to that yet.
Yeah. Okay,
But I
maybe
have
that.
seen a lot of people reacting to it on TikTok, but I've not seen the actual original videos yet.
Yeah, I need to do some research because it's a similar thing of like, why would you do that? You person this size, place you're trying to go into this size,
And called
yes.
like Cthulhu's sphincter.
I had to exhale all oxygen outside of my body to try to collapse my ribs so that I could. What? While dragging in my oxygen tank because then the cave dumps into a 36-foot ravine with water.
And then I found an air pocket, but the air pocket only would last me for 5 minutes. I had to wait until I don't know.
And it's pitch black. So my thing, no, I do not condone the mountain, but at least that's when they're not climbing at night, beautiful. I'm like, what do you like? I guess scuba diving and free diving more so, but the caves, I'm like, what are you seeing? What do you see?
I think there's like a fixation on being the first person to be somewhere.
Mm.
And I guess I just don't have, I mean, I feel like humans by nature are adventurers. Like that's how we all migrated out of Africa. Like I
Yes.
think that there's something in our spirits,
Yes. Explore, go
that
see the unknown.
explore. Yeah, I think there's
But
something
now we
there.
know enough. That's
But
the problem. Now we
yeah,
know enough.
I know enough. And I also feel like there's so many people who are doing this for it, like Ryan Mitchell. I can watch that POV and get all the good except for
Wow,
being
I've
there
seen
in
it.
person
Like,
with none of the bad.
Everest, no, but I've seen it. It looks
I've
nice.
seen it. It's beautiful. I mean, he climbed on a beautiful day. There's some beautiful cloud cover. K2 has probably the most beautiful views, I think, of any of these mountains that I've seen. So recommend looking up some pictures of that.
This is crazy. And so these are all the tallest ones in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, they're the ones that are the highest in the sky. Technically, the tallest mountain is one of the Hawaiian Islands because, like, it's undersea, most of it.
Yeah.
But the ones that are like highest in the sky
Okay.
are these 8,000ers.
Yeah, I'm good. I remember going to Yosemite and people were climbing, was it El Capitan or one of those there? And I looked at it and was like,
there's that guy who free soloed it.
That makes, I can't even, like, watching stuff like that or free diving, it starts to make me panic. I'm like,
the cave diving makes me feel claustrophobic. And then the free,
and like,
I feel like you're falling.
much.
Yeah. Like even watching Ryan's POV, I got some like fear of height stuff and moments of
Yeah.
like, you're gonna fall. Like, be careful, you're
Yeah,
about to
when
fall.
someone's like high up and I'm like, oh no, I'm like backing up from my phone, like I'm at the ledge. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I,
no,
no.
go ahead. So Mark's safe. Mark's safe from all mountain disasters.
Yeah, exactly.
But
You can find me here at Camp Zero
I love it
watching,
here.
watching and judging like this.
Breathing normally.
Yeah.
Yes. Not not
Yes, for I've just seen clips of that and it just stressed me out too much.
yes.
I was like,
Those I will notice, I will watch people free diving and I'll be like, Jessica, breathe. Like I feel like I'm like, get up, go back up. What are you doing?
what are you doing?
I don't. Yeah, I don't have that in me. I don't have that need to be first, to be no.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not trying to be first, fastest, tallest.
No. I see people doing other things. I'm like, oh, that's a nice craft. I'd like to learn that thing. You know, something normal.
Something achievable.
Knit watercolor paint.
Yeah, I did see that. Apparently they scan that guy's brain and he has like less of a fear, like the part of your brain that processes fear, his was smaller than the normal person, which I'm like, that checks out because
Yeah.
I think mine is larger and I could not do that.
I'm not trying to be going down there. We don't belong down there.
No. No. We don't belong in the sea. We don't belong in the depths of the ocean, the heights of the mountains.
No.
We belong kind of like
getting is in an airplane and that'd be stressing me out.
Yeah, exactly. And
when
honestly,
I was young, I used to think I was dumb. Well, no. When I was young, I was dumb. And I thought that I wanted to skydive. And then I grew up and I'm like, bitch, what? Why would we jump out of a perfect like that plane?
No. And honestly, if you've been in a plane, you're pretty much getting a lot of the view that you get from some of these mountains because they're 8,000 meters is about cruising altitude for planes. So,
oh, looks nice. Yeah. Like when I used to fly back to SeaTac and be like, oh, can I see Rainier? Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, look how beautiful.
Yeah. I love that. Excellent. Thank you.
Check.
I love the word clenchy.
Yeah.
But I'll start peeking into some cave.
Yeah, why don't you can let me know what I need to
know about Nutty Putty caves. I wonder if I can find something else. Not like I'm like searching for disaster, but I'm sure there is.
Well, there's a so the channel that I watched for K2 info is called Adventures Gone Wrong. And I'm guessing she probably has some cave stuff. Oh, and also Kim sent me, shout out Kim, friend of the pod.
Hey, Kim.
She's oh God, why is it always doing that? She sent me a channel, a cave diving reaction channel.
Ooh.
I've watched a few videos for. I'll send you copy. I'll send you this in case it piques your interest and gets you going here.
Yeah, Jen, I can't believe I was like, yeah, I'm gonna, Live Like You Were Dying was out by Tim McGraw, and I was like, what's in my? Well, he said skydiving. That's on my bucket list too.
No.
Now I get on a Ferris wheel and I'd be about to have I'm like, we're too high.
Yeah. Okay. Also, and I need to go because I need to feed the cats, but I should have just done it beforehand. I don't know why I didn't. This is a fantastic point because, for example, Jumik, who died, he was one of the Sherpa. His first son was literally born while he was dying. I mean, like so many of these people have children and spouses, and it's like, I don't see how you can be a responsible partner or parent and do this as a hobby.
Yeah. Not when you know how high the risk is.
Yeah, I mean, even to like what this cyclist said of like he wasn't that good at doing it because it was on his mind. It's like, yeah, even aside from like your responsibility to them, I just would think it would be in your mind and like make you more nervous.
Yes. And like for climbing as a parent, and I'm sure they have a lot of money, but still you're like, all right, I'll see you in 3 months because I'm just gonna go hang out in a mountain. Just leave, like,
Yeah, you're leaving your spouse potentially for 3 months. Like a lot of them are, and they're like calling, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
can they call? Do they have phones? Does this stuff
You
work?
hey, you're paying $100,000. You have internet at base camp. You have Starbucks. You have a full experience.
Wow.
Yeah, the couples that do it together, that makes a little more sense to me. But
My word.
yeah. Well, I have to
Exhilarating.
dip.
Illuminating.
But I feel like maybe we'll do a cave diving episode. Maybe we can do a catching up on all of our legal cases one, because I think most of the ones we're following have been resolved in one way or another.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Some fortunate, some
Unfortunate.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
And poor Luigi is still sitting.
Except for Luigi.
Yeah.
But also maybe that week I'm off work, we could do one, because
Okay.
then my schedule will be very flexible. So, or we could just chat. Either way.
Yes.
Yes.
It was lovely to be back in your tabs. Thank you.
Yes, deep in my tabs.
I feel
Well,
like there's so
everyone.
many adventures that can go wrong.
Oh my god. Yeah. The lesson is stay home.
Yeah. Be safe.
Be safe. Don't be be just adventurous enough to have fun, and not so adventurous that you're likely to die. Yeah. Go on a hike around a waterfall.
Yeah.
At like 500 meters above sea level.
Try a new genre of book.
Yeah.
See a different kind of movie, but
try a different kind of cultural food that you've not tried before.
Stick to the lakes and the rivers that you're used to. Okay.
Chili told us.
Hello, do not go chasing them waterfalls.
Yeah. Amen. On the word of TLC. Have a great night, everyone.
Hallelujah.
And we will talk to you soon. Bye.